Long, long ago, when the people were animals, the world was often cold. And so it was that the animal people met in council to decide what to do. "There are times," said Eagle, "when I fly into the land of the Sky People, and notice they have fire." "If we had fire," said Raven, "we would always be warm." "The Sky People will not give us their fire," commented Bear. "Then we must take some of their fire, to have for our families and those who will come after us," concluded Raven. The animal people continued to discuss this, and agreed to obtain fire from the Sky People. They realized no one person would be able to go to Skyland and take the fire by him or herself. "I can fly to Skyland," said Eagle, "but many of you are too heavy for me to carry." "Some of us are fast runners," said Deer, "and can carry the fire. But how can we get to Skyland?" "If there was a bridge, we could walk into the sky," said Wolf. "I wish we could walk on rainbows," said Spider. "Then let us build a bridge of arrows," said Raven. "We will shoot the arrows into the sky, one after another, end to end, and then climb up to where the fire is kept." The animal people decided to hold a contest to discover who was so powerful an archer that he or she could shoot the sky, and so accurate that he or she could fit arrows together. One by one, the largest and the strongest of the animal people failed. None was powerful enough to shoot the arrows high enough. Little Wren came forward with a bow made of an elk's rib. "What makes you think you can succeed when the rest of us are not strong enough?" "All I can do is try," said Wren, and he pulled his small bow back, letting the arrow sail away, almost out of sight, until it struck the sky. "Sometimes people forget the most powerful are sometimes the smallest," said Spider. They all congratulated Wren, and handed him all of their arrows. One by one, the arrows were loosened. One by one, they were joined together, arching down until the bridge of arrows was within reach. One by one, the four-legged people began to climb, while the bird people flew ahead. "I must go among the first," said Bear, "since I am one of the best hunters." Eagle looked at the thinness of the bridge and the thickness of Bear, and thought quickly. "My dear cousin," said Eagle, "it is you who must stay down here and guard the bridge as a way home." And so it was. Bear saw the others leave him. One by one, the animal people entered the land of the Sky People, following the signs and scent of smoke to one of the houses that held fire. They positioned themselves as they had planned. Woodpecker knocked on the rooftop of the Sky People's home. A Sky person came out to see who had knocked, and Woodpecker hurried to the other side, remaining hidden. Seeing no one, the Sky person went back inside the house. Beaver lay down in front of the door and waited. Again, Woodpecker knocked and then hid. Again, a Sky person came out, surprised to find Beaver, brought him inside the home. "Have any of you seen such a strange-looking creature?" he asked. "No," said Grandmother. "I will skin it," she said. "It is such beautiful fur." Beaver continued to play dead, and bit even more tightly the skin inside the corner of his mouth. Beaver had the power to take off his skin and not die, as long as he kept even a tiny bit of it on. As Eagle and Woodpecker watched through the smoke hole, the grandmother began to expertly skin Beaver. Again, Beaver bit tightly into the skin inside his mouth, and Woodpecker knocked, more loudly than before. Woodpecker allowed the Sky People to see him. The Sky People, who had never seen a woodpecker before, were excited and called to the grandmother to join them. Reluctantly, she put down her knife and joined her family outside. Beaver rolled over in his skin, and he was as good as new. Meanwhile, Woodpecker would allow the Sky People to almost catch him and then fly a little ways away, luring them away from their home. Beaver grabbed some of the fire and ran out the door, passing it over to Wolf. The fire was so hot, Wolf could barely hold it as he ran towards the bridge of arrows. The smoke of the fire was blown across his back, even a darkened area you will see today. One by one, the animal people passed the fire to one another, and the fire marked each one. The young deer was spotted from the white ashes. Eagle held the fire with his claws away from him, but the white tail feathers carried their tips and turned dark. Robin held the fire too close to her breast, and it scorched her red. Raven held the fire in front of him, and the smoke blew over him, staining him the black he is today. On Earth, Bear began to worry that the others had been gone too long. They probably need me, he thought. They need a strong warrior. Bear patted his large stomach, and worried that the rest of them might be as hungry as he was. And so Bear packed a bundle of food, putting more and more food into it, until it was as large as he was. Balancing the bundle, Bear began to climb the bridge of arrows. Well, he had only gone a little way until the bridge was broken apart, and the arrows fell down. Bear looked at what he had done, first feeling terribly guilty. But then he told himself, if they had let me come when I had wanted to, this would never have happened. This is really their fault. And so Bear picked up his bundle and disappeared into the forest, where he is today, avoiding the other animals so he doesn't feel guilty. By now, the Sky People had discovered their fire had been stolen, and were chasing the animal people. Bat and Spider were keeping watch over the bridge of arrows, proud of their responsibility. Bat was a very vain and handsome young man who enjoyed having others admire him. He pulled his blanket more tightly around him as he heard the bridge collapse. Then he fell back to earth. In the distance, Bat and Spider could see the others running towards them, passing the smoky fire between them, with the Sky People close behind. Without hesitation, Spider began to weave a basket to lower the ones who couldn't fly Bat down. She had them climb in the basket and lower them down with the fire. A Sky Person grabbed at Bat, who jumped away, falling down. He spread his blanket out to slow himself, catching the wind like he had wings. But he was awkward and hit the ground with his face. This is why, when you see Bat today, his face is all pushed in flat. Brave Spider let the others down safely, but had to leap away from the grabbing hands of the Sky People so quickly that she did not have time to secure a web line for herself, and so fell back down. She landed so hard she broke her legs, which is why you see a spider today. Her legs are bent at such a sharp angle. Proudly, the animal people held up their new fire to show the others. Right at that moment, the angry Sky People sent rain, putting out the fire and making the animal people very sad. Now what shall we do? Asked Frog. Wait, said Beaver, and he showed them a tiny bit of the fire still smoldering beneath one of his claws. But where can we put the fire so the Sky People will never be able to take fire away again? Asked Eagle. And so it was decided that Raven would hide fire in wood. Raven placed the fire into different trees, where we find it even today. Raven. Raven acknowledges that the fire will be there for future generations. The decisions we make today affect generations to come. Spider. Spider reminds the group that sometimes people forget that the most powerful are sometimes the smallest. Don't let perceptions limit possible solutions. Wren. The wren wants to try to shoot the arrow even though nobody believes he is strong enough. Sometimes all you can do is give it a try, because it is not always apparent what a person can or can't do. Bear. Bear feels he should be the first to go because he is the best hunter. It is not always the typical leaders that get us where we need to go. Bear tries to climb into the sky because he feels they need a strong warrior. He breaks the arrows, so he hides in the woods to avoid the other animals. Sometimes our egos get in the way. When we feel guilty, we can blame or avoid others. All animals. No one animal can get in the fire by themselves. More gets done when we work together. Each animal contributed to the process according to their gifts. Everybody has something to contribute to a solution. The animals get marked by the fire, Sometimes the consequences are less when we sacrifice together. Discussion points. Upon completion of the story, ask participants for feedback as to the teachings that they heard in the story. Focus on these teachings during this discussion time and throughout the remainder of the day.